What's going on, you guys? My name is Charles. This is the Traders Corner. Today what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be creating a trading bot in Python. So let's get started. Throughout the video, as we go through the video and we start coding the bot itself, when we get into that part of the video, so definitely stick around for that. And also, if you're interested in just getting the code itself, definitely click the link in the description below. You'll be able to get the code to the bot, like the source code to the bot if you want it. But I would definitely recommend kind of coding alone. This is a way that I've kind of taught myself to start learning how to code. I don't only code trading algorithms, I also like try to practice other basic things in coding. But obviously, as I'm very interested in trading, this is a very easy way for me to be very interested in what it is that I'm learning when it comes to coding, right? And so this is a way that I've learned how to code trading algorithms in Quant Connect in terms of coding along with other videos. So I definitely recommend that if you are interested in learning how to code these algorithms yourself. But if you're not really interested in that, you just want the code, definitely go check out the link in the description below. Yeah, it'll be free. So, but first, like I said, besides just coding the bot, we're going to also look at why I decided to get into coding in the first place. All right, you guys, so in this part of the video, what we're going to be doing is looking at the actual strategy that we're going to be implementing. And to look at that actual strategy, what we're going to be doing and looking at is TradingView. So first and foremost, we're going to need three main indicators to implement with this strategy. So we're going to need the stochastic, the EMAs, and then what is called the money flow index. Now, even though we're using three indicators, we're only going to see two on the chart because of the way we're going to use the money flow index. And we'll talk more about that when we actually get into the coding itself. But before we do that, let's talk about, again, how we're actually going to trade the strategy. And let's talk about it, I guess you would say, kind of more pictorially, right? So let's first and foremost look at these EMAs and stochastics, right? So first, we're only going to need basically three EMAs, all right? Because we need the 9, the 20, and the 50. And so we're going to need 9, 20, 50. So don't need those and don't need that, right? And I know that that's the 9, 20, and the 50 because that's EMAs I use. These are Austin Silver's EMAs, so I know kind of what he has set up. Well, actually, this is the 21, but whatever. Same stuff, right? Well, not the same exactly, but good enough for right now because we're just looking at it in terms of stylistically the strategy we're going to be trading, all right? And then the stochastic would be this input. So what is the strategy that we're going to be trading stylistically? Well, thinking about it, what we want to do is we want to use the daily, the 1 hour, and the 1 minute in terms of our time frames. And again, we want to use the EMAs and the stochastics. And then we're going to use the money flow index to see if there's positive money flow or negative money flow in terms of the coding. But just in terms of the actual indicators itself, what can we do and what can we think about the strategy stylistically? How can we think about that stylistically? Well, thinking about it stylistically, the first thing that we're going to want to do is on the daily is we're going to want to check, are we above or below the 9 EMA? Then we also want to check, is the 9 EMA, if we're below the 9 EMA, for example, is that 9 EMA also below the 21 EMA or the 20 EMA, right? Is it stacked, right? Now, if we confirm that on the daily, then we're going to go down to the 1 hour and ask the same thing, but this time we're not going to use the 9 and the 21, we're going to use the 9 and the 50, right? And we want to see some congruence there. So if we're down and we're stacked down on the daily, if price is below the 9 on the daily and we're stacked down on the daily, then we want to see price below the 9 on the 1 hour and the 9 and the 50 EMAs stacked down on the 1 hour as well. Now, once we have those EMAs stacked in order on the daily and then stacked in order on the 1 hour and price below on the 9 EMA on both time frames, we're going to want to drop down to the 1 minute, and then we're just going to essentially use the stochastic, and then in the same direction of which we're looking at the EMAs. So for example, if the EMAs are pointed down, as we've been talking about, what we want to do actually is we want to look at like here is a perfect example. So we use the replay tool. Well, actually, this is a better example here. So here's a perfect example, right? So the EMAs, so we go to the daily, price is below the 9, EMAs are stacked down, 920, 921. Then we go down, again, price is below the 9, and EMAs are stacked down, so 9 and 50. Represented by that light blue line. And then what happens is the stochastic is now at an overbought level, represented by being above this 80 level. And the K line, which is the blue line, which is the faster moving line of the stochastic, crossed below the D line, right? And so once we have that cross below the D line and we're in oversold territory on the 1 minute, that's when we want our bot to sell. So we're gonna look at implementing this code, implementing this into code, but this is the basically looking at the strategy from a stylistic standpoint of what it is that we're actually going to be implementing in coding. So now that we looked at that, we're actually going to get into looking at Quant Connect. We're going to very quickly go through setting up a Quant Connect account. If you guys want, if not, don't have to, just in that sense. But basically what I'm saying is I'll quickly show you kind of how, well, I'm not going to go through making an account because it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll show you kind of using the algorithm lab and like first things that you should know about as well once you make that first account. So that is what we're going to be looking at in the next iteration of this video. So let's get to that now. All right, you guys, so that was essentially the introduction of what we're going to be covering and then the strategy overview of what we're actually going to be coding. Now, in part 2 of the series or this video, what we're actually going to do is we're going to actually code the bot. Now, I decided to break up the videos just a little bit, just for the sake of editing and everything like that, just to kind of make things as visible as possible. As I saw, just based on some things in terms of editing, that once I edited it all together in one video, it was very hard to see the actual code as I was coding along, right? And that's kind of, the most important part of this video, at least to me, right? It's the idea of being able to code along. Yes, you can get the source code, but, it is also about you, practicing that skill and kind of learning what Quant Connect has to offer in that sense as well. So decided to break it up just to make sure that, you guys could see the code itself as the video was running. So you guys can get the most value as possible. So hope you guys enjoyed part 2 as well. So let's get into that now.